So now we can move on to the welterweight fight for the strap. We had Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, beating Tyron Woodley, the Chosen One. The Chosen One became the Frozen One in the fight. He did not look like a champion. He got utterly dominated for the duration of 5 rounds from start to finish, and Kamaru Usman became the first African champion in UFC history.
Like Anderson Silva would say, "Oh wow," right? So that's my first impression when I see the stats, because I'm looking at the stats for the first time right now.
We'll bring that up on the screen.
And this is insane. 336 total strikes against 60. Wow. This is just, I didn't realize, but then once I look back, it makes sense because he got completely dominated.
Yep, he was outstruck 5.5 times.
Yeah.
By 5.5 multipliers. So that's some wild stuff. Significant strikes, 141 to 34. I don't even know where those 34 strikes came from. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, I mean the amount of body shots that Tyron took to that same exact spot on that floating
to each
rib.
other in the clinch and just blasting each other off with like.
There were a lot of separations that fight. They kept separating
that's another point about that fight.
Over and over, and I'm like, this guy's work. He's like, start working. I'm like, he's been snuffing this guy in the same exact spot in the floating rib for the last 45 seconds. How much more work do you want me to see?
Yes, it was. Everyone that watched it, everyone that's commenting on it, agrees that those stand-ups were absolutely ridiculous. What are you doing? You're negating the whole mixed part of martial arts, you know? You're not making it mixed anymore. You're like, oh, first of all, which is a point they made on other podcasts already, how hard is it, do you think, to get Tyron to the ground and keep him there?
Let alone ragdoll takedown. That pickup takedown was wild.
Yeah, and then you're standing them up? Are you kidding me, bro? And then what ended up happening? Every time he stood them up, they would end up in the same position. Bro, that's where the fight is. In my opinion, first of all, I'm going to be honest, the way I was looking at the fight before it happened was, Tyron's, and I think a lot of people as well, Tyron is Usman, just like an advanced version of Usman. He's got everything that Usman has, but better.
That's exactly what I was saying last week on the podcast. I was saying I don't know what Kamaru Usman's going to do better than Tyron. Well, we learned a lot.
It turned out to be the exact opposite. Usman has everything that Tyron does, but better.
100%. Like round 1, 73% of the time was spent in the clinch.
Yeah,
and 16 strikes for Usman, just pummeling him up against the cage. The takedowns at that point, he took him down, and then from there, Tyron Woodley, it's round 1, he's fresh enough to stand right back up. Round 2, ground time, 52% of the time was on the ground in favor of Kamaru Usman, of course. Round 3, 45% of the time, 100% of the round was spent in the clinch. 100% of the round was in the clinch. Just body shot, and that was. And then you move on to the next one. Now we had a split of 50% from distance where they were standing and trying to trade, because that's when Kamaru started opening up.
Yeah,
I liken it to Khabib. Grind him for 3 rounds and then start striking in round 4 when that guy's dog tired. He started landing some bombs on Tyron. And then 24% of it was spent on the ground, 26% of it on the clinch. A nice split. And then in the last round, took him down, finished the business. 93% of it was spent on the ground in round 5. Dominated front to back. Tyron Woodley looked like he was outclassed in every single counting stat. He had no chance, getting absolutely decimated from front to back. And my side little comment is Tyron Woodley maybe should have released that Chaos Theory album a week leading up to the fight, as opposed to the day after the fight. He was clearly looking past Kamaru, looking at Colby, hence the name of the album, Chaos Theory.
Yeah.
Colby Chaos Covington. You look past your guys, you're in Hollywood, you're acting, you're rapping, you're not training enough, and he's on Instagram. I don't know why people are asking why I'm not. Listen, buddy, you got complacent and you thought you were looking past a guy saying, what do you, even in the pre-fight conference, what do you do better than me? I want to know how you're going to beat me. It's like, okay, well, he just showed you. He gave you, and look, Kamaru could go for another 5 rounds. He gave it to you all day. You got murked.
So, yeah, two points. Again, what we talked about earlier, he's gone Hollywood. He's gotten distracted. He doesn't have his why anymore. Maybe he doesn't have the motivation. He's been a champion for a while.
Yep.
All those factors, I didn't see a hungry Tyron Woodley. That's one point. Second point is strategy-wise, Usman came so well prepared. And also just generally the way they match up, I think Tyron does a lot of backing up against the cage, backing up and then picking his shots, looking for big shots on the counter with explosive big shots. Well, Usman's, I think, bread and butter is pushing someone against the cage, trapping them, wrestling them.
You played right into
You played exactly just the matchup from the get-go was bad if we objectively had seen this before.
Right.
Now that it unraveled, we see it, of course.
The question was
but-
if the takedowns would happen. That's the thing. If Kamaru couldn't take Tyron down,
Yeah.
he'd be bullying him into the corner, failing to take him down, getting frustrated, then Tyron would be able to hit him
Yeah.
eventually, which is how I thought it would go. I knew Tyron would back up. I knew Kamaru would move forward. I didn't know he'd ragdoll him in the first 30 seconds of the fight and throw him to the ground like he was chomp meat. Around a dominant performance from the new champion Usman, who just took it right from Woodley.
That's right. I agree. And I don't want to see an immediate rematch because, honestly, I don't see how this fight could play out any differently.
Didn't earn it.
I think, yes, Woodley has kind of like a little bit of a point. I've defended it, 6 times or whatever? Anyways, in any case, I think Woodley needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out how the hell he can deal with the Nigerian nightmare.
100%.